All right, welcome to another live episode of the Kings of Causeway podcast, part of the Boston Sports Entertainment Network. I'm your host, Pat Berg, joined as always by Ryan Coffey. We have not talked since the game went final. We are about to lose our shit live on YouTube and Twitter. I know I am. Coffey, are you about to lose your shit?
No, I think we should just pack up our bags and hit the golf course because if we're going to play like we did tonight, this is a fucking joke at this point. I mean, we're getting walked on a Leafs team without Austin Matthews, without Ryan Reeves in the lineup. Not to mention Rahan and William Nylander, the one guy you can't let get going when Austin Matthews is out. Just get two here you go goals. I mean, it's a fucking disaster. They didn't deserve to win this game. They haven't deserved to win the last two. There were chances to win both the last two, and that's like the most deflating part is they just straight up blew it twice in a row.
Couldn't agree more. And one thing that I want to preface this pod with is we're going to come hot and heavy for a lot of lines, of coaches, of referee. We're gonna come for them because I think they're due. But I want to make no mistake: the Boston Bruins did not deserve to win this hockey game. Like, no matter what is going on, one shot in the first 27 minutes of ice time is unacceptable in the playoffs. So I am not trying to make excuses for this hockey club tonight for not winning this game. However, the deck really seems to be getting stacked one way over the other. There's just empirical evidence at this point. This isn't even a homerism. This isn't even, I see this one way, you see this another way. There is no reason a team should be 3 for 36 from the faceoff dot. There's until midway through the third. There is no reason calls should be going one way and not the other. Whether they're icing, delayed offsides, we can't count how many people were on the ice. We can't fucking decide who was on the ice until 90 seconds later when everybody's had time to rest. Then we can bring guys out. Blatant hook, cross-check, and boarding on a young guy. To it, like, it's bad when TNT is saying, oh, wow, the refs really blew like 3 calls there. Like, this was a disaster. Putrid performance from the Bruins. This was a putrid performance from the referees. And here we are going back to Boston with all of the pressure. And I guarantee you, Austin Matthews is going to pull whatever out of whatever and is going to be fine. All of a sudden, now that his team's in a position to win, he's going to be fine again. Doesn't scare me, quite honestly. I couldn't give a flying fuck about Austin Matthews. I think he's garbage. I think his stash means he should stay 500 yards away from all elementary schools in the country. Like, that doesn't bother me, but this is a player whose character clearly says, my sickness means I can't play when we should lose, but now I'm going to play. And we just couldn't close it out. Like, he wants to be on the golf course so bad, and we didn't send him there.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty ridiculous when you have guys sitting out for unknown illness or whatever it is. But meanwhile, TJ Oshie's playing with a broken hand.
With a broken hand?
In a series
goddamn warrior.
In a series that they're clearly losing, and he still decides to lace him up. I mean, the differences between the rest of the league right now and this series seems to be blatantly different. I don't know what the hell's going on. I texted you all game. I don't want to blame the refs. We could have done a lot of things to change the tide of this game.
Agreed.
But they fucking – that Mason Lohrei one, like, I'm going to need an explanation. We've been talking about getting ref explanations.
That's egregious.
4 penalties in one.
They either need to be fired for incompetence or jailed for fixing a match. Like, it's one of the two. Like, there's no way there and Jim fucking Montgomery needs to sack up and accept whatever fine the league wants to give him for coming in and calling out the referees on their bullshit. Because they're on some shit. He's been so polite. It's driven me insane. We talked about this at the beginning. When things go this way, is he going to have the spine to look at the referee corps and be like, hey, y'all are doing it bad? John Tortorella would always buy 2 games in a series because he would lose his mind on the referees. And they would be like, oh, shit, yeah, we kind of did biff that. All right, well, we're damn sure not going to biff it next game. He'd do that game 3 and game 7 Well, Jim Montgomery, you biffed it going into game 3. I know we won anyway. But you now need to go take the whatever they're going to give you. What's it going to be, a $5,000 fine? Is that going to hurt your kid's private school tuition? Get the fuck out of here. Call them on this bullshit. Send the Department of Player Safety the tape in 500 different ways with 500 different email addresses. Spam them. I don't give a shit. Get your point across. This is atrocious.
I think it's ridiculous. I agree 100%. I think he definitely needs to step up and do it on the media, like he's been doing it in game. But at this point, I mean,
that doesn't matter. They can ignore him.
Need to do it
they can ignore him in game. They told Pat Maroon to shut the fuck up as he was talking, as he was terminating, like, "Hey, what the hell is going on here? We watched the ref mouth. Shut the fuck up, Maroon." Like They don't give a shit in game. It's the media where this thing is determined when how the referees are played, because when it's on the ice, nobody can really hear it. We can infer, but nobody really knows. It's going to take Monty and Marchand and all these guys that are about to sit there in front of the Stanley Cup logo and give a press conference. Like, yes, own the fact that y'all played poorly, but also point out the refs did worse. Again,
Yeah,
it's the consistently poorness from this Zebra crew that blows my mind as they try so hard to not be homers because they're from fucking South Boston.
You want me to make a bold prediction right now?
I absolutely do. Leafs in 7.
I think they're gonna probably say something about that Lori hit. The league's going to not, or the Bruins are. I feel like the league's going to say nothing. You want to know what I really hope doesn't happen? I think Charlie McAvoy might be getting looked at for a hit he had earlier in the game. It shouldn't have been because the guy was going down, but I would not be shocked if the league
McAvoy gets suspended for
rolls it back and McAvoy gets suspended for one game on that hit. It wasn't one where he intentionally did it. The guy was starting to fall down as he went to lay the hit. But at this point, it wouldn't shock me. Like, it wouldn't shock me if we find out in a day tomorrow Charlie McAvoy's getting looked at for a suspension. But Mason Lohrei's hit runs free. I mean, that's a joke if that happens, but I wouldn't be shocked at this point.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we have absolutely pissed 2 games away. 2 games that we absolutely could have and should have won. We didn't see any effort in Game 5 from either one of our opinions. And then we certainly didn't see the response that they all said in their pregame and everything. Oh, we're going to come out with a fire and an intensity. I don't know. Everybody looks slow. I mean, DeBrusk had a chance from the lower right dot, like 60 seconds into the game, and just sent it into row Z. And that was kind of the tone of the game. He skated around laughing it off, and it was just like, all right, we're going to treat this game like a joke, because that's exactly what happened for the next 27 minutes. We treated it like a joke. The shots were 16-1 until it was 16-2 in a playoff game.
I don't know what's worse, because obviously that's lopsided. It's shots on goal. I think we had 13 shots in the first period, which I don't know which one's worse. The fact that we put 12 out of 13 shots not on net, or that we only had one. Like, that's fucking, like, number one rule of hockey. If you're not going to be a sniper and fucking pick your corners, you better be getting the fucking puck on the net.
On the net.
Rebound. Missing the net. Fucking sending our defense back into our zone on our own possessions.
On our own possessions. And I'm sorry, David Pastrnak was more guilty of this than anybody. First off, Pasta looked like a bitch on his skates today. He was getting punked left, right, and center. Sure, maybe they were hitting him a little hard. Maybe they weren't. I don't really give a shit. This is the playoffs. Stand on your fucking skates. He was falling over.
It wasn't just Pastrnak.
They all were. Nobody could stay on their skates.
It looked like we were playing Mario Kart and there were banana peels on the ice. I don't know if it was just
embarrassing.
No one could fucking stand up straight or control the puck.
Nobody knew where anybody was supposed to be. We were making blind drop-off passes to nobody. We were making slingshots around the boards to nobody. It was the most embarrassing and pathetic thing I have seen in a long time. They completely looked like a team that had never played together before. Like
I'm just watching a highlight of Charlie Coyle blocking a Charlie McAvoy shot. It's like that's the kind of shit that was happening tonight. Can't even get our own pucks on their net.
One of our guys. At one point, I think it might have been a Lindholm shot. Lindholm broke. It might have been Coyle's stick. Like we were actively doing that, but these Leafs were also looking like the reincarnate New York Rangers from like 6 years ago when they just threw their faces at the pucks and were like, I'd rather lose 10 teeth than let this puck go through. And every single Bruin seemed to be just like, well, okay, then I guess I'll hit you in the shin. Oh, it's going behind me now. And Nylander now is a breakaway because Mason Lohrei can't miss a dude 12 inches in front of him.
You talked about coaching mistakes. That was one that was glaring to me. Probably 3 minutes into this game, you knew Toronto's plan of trying to block shots, deflect them, get them to the outside. And I didn't see a coaching change until 5 minutes left in the second period. I mean, the one thing is if they're going to block shots, you need to use that to your advantage. Fake a shot.
Pump fake, go around him, pump fake. They're coming. It's like
they weren't doing that 5-on-5. They weren't doing it on the power play. The power play is the most important part to always be looking shot, and we just kept going. We're gonna catch a pass here instead of fucking shoot the puck.
Everybody was looking to receive or dish a pass. Is one of you see it in basketball all the time when a team's really hot from three. The guys like the defense is coached to all right, just bum rush them out at three and try to make that uncomfortable. Your solution to that, you pump fake, you take a half step left or a half step right, whichever way you're feeling. The guy goes flying into the third row and you take your shot or make your pass or whatever. But A, you've taken a guy completely out of the situation, or B, you've completely lined yourself up to do whatever the fuck it is you want to do. Instead, we saw them rushing, panicked, and just hit it into their shin pad. Time after time. And this wasn't just the rookies. David Pastrnak looked like a fucking KHL third winger today. And he looked like a KHL third winger on Tuesday. Like, he's been bad the last two games. They all have.
Nesson must have given him the script. He had 0 shots in 2 of these first 5 games. 2 games with 0 shots. 3, 4, and 4 in the other 2. And Nesson, right before pregame, goes, Dave Pastrnak just needs to shoot the puck in net. Well, guess what? He tried to start that off tonight by doing it. He didn't hit the fucking net, though.
He didn't hit the fucking net. He was the one that was sending it around into our own zone by missing it by 6.5 feet.
It's like, yeah, we need you shooting, but we need you taking Pastrnak shots, not fucking just rip them on net from anywhere. Like, the whole thing was a disaster.
No, the whole thing was a disaster. They looked rattled from minute one. They just looked rattled. As soon as DeBrusk missed that first opportunity, they never looked the same again. They just didn't. They were on their heels. They couldn't play. And I'm sorry, while a lot of this goes on the players, I'm going to say no matter what the outcome of this series is, no matter what the outcome of this season is, I don't give a shit. Jin Montgomery needs to lose his job. This dude sucks at coaching in clutch. In crunch time, when the lights are brightest, this guy's dick turtles. It is so far up his own rectum right now.
Hate to say
terrible when it matters. He's awful.
I hate to say it, but he's kind of the fucking Brad Stevens of the Celtics. Like, he's like great coach during the regular season and like,
but when it matters, he's garbage.
Things, but when it's crunch time and clutch, I mean, coach, the players, it seems like this group is having a real struggle closing out games. I think we're 1-5 in closeout games.
And we can't motivate. We can't come out firing. That's on coaching.
It's not good.
That is on coaching.
It's on both, but 100% agree with you. I can't look. I'm usually supportive of the coach. I can't look the other way this time. There are a lot of mistakes made in the last 2 games. I said to you before the game, I read the lineup when an hour before the game to you, and I was pumped. I thought it was a perfect lineup. I was very happy with keeping Brazeau in, bringing Heinen out. I thought that was smart. Shattenkirk for Grizzly. Great. I'm like, this is the lineup that's going to beat them down. No, like nothing. Didn't change it up until halfway through the second.
They didn't look like a team that had ever played together before. And at the end of the day, there was really only one major change, and that was Heinen being out, and like apparently that was due to injury, and I understand that. But to me, that doesn't explain why none of the other lines like seem to know what each other was going to do, where they were going to be. It was terrible. And I get it.
We were getting bitched by a team without Austin or fucking Ryan Reeves on it. Like, we're getting punked by little kids that are, it's like their first playoff game. Like, it's sad.
We saw a couple of times guys would go in deep trying to lay a hit and just completely whiff and then fall on their ass. And then not only does that bring the Toronto crowd into it, they also then didn't get up and like skate back defensively either. I distinctly remember a couple of Jake DeBrusk swing and misses on the forecheck when it was late. Like the forecheck was not going to be established. He was going in there 1-on-4. It wasn't going to do anything. And he just threw himself into the boards, fell down, and then didn't get back into the defensive zone. Like, it's like watching a soccer team press one man at a time. It's like, that's not going to work. You can't press solo. That's not how a forecheck works. That's not how any of this works. I don't understand how you can watch that being the reality after 20 minutes, come out 0-0 after 20 minutes, and not sit there as a multi-million-dollar salaried coach and go, wow, I need to change some shit. Instead, you're just like, well, we're not losing. Let's do it again. Like,
you're right. Something's missing. It either needs to be the motivation or the changing. It's like we shouldn't have to change up the lines if the message going into the third is, we got fucking lucky to be here, boys. We put one period together and we're on to the next round. And like, they just came out flat again. It's like I've been waiting for
it wasn't until like 7 minutes to go that you actually started seeing them be the first ones to the puck on the boards, on the forecheck, being the first guys around. And I honestly, at like 7:45 or whatever, we were putting some shots on. We had some rotten, bounce luck or whatever. Some things were falling to guys on their backhand instead of their forehand. Like that, but we were in the right places. And generally when you do that for long enough, things buff the right way. But we only gave ourselves 7.5 minutes of that. Hey, we've kind of earned some puck luck. And
even that was sloppy. Even that
was sloppy and frantic. It never felt like sustained control. It felt like a whole bunch of frantic pressing. It's just, this is a team that now is in danger of doing exactly what we did last year, this year. Once again, in my opinion, to an inferior team.
Florida at least proved it by going to the finals that they were a real legitimate team. This is garbage if we lose to Toronto. We've had a lot of heartbreak since 2011, and this could be up there. I'm not going to lie. This, especially
this would be up there. This would be up there. This would be up there with 13 seconds.
With 2017, 2018, that was pretty fucking poor too in our own building.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those. I mean, you play the way you do during the regular season to have Game 7 in your building. You work as hard as you do all year to put yourself in a position to own the venue for Game 7. Here's my fear. We've said it from the very beginning. Boston is the hardest place to play hockey or basketball, in my opinion. The crowd is not just happy to be there. The crowd is, you're supposed to be here. Justify me spending $500 on a ticket. and then I'll get excited.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It is what it is. This is going to be a Boston Garden that, unless things are radically different from the last time you and I were at the Boston Garden in a playoff scenario, is going to be very prove to me why I should cheer for you. It's not going to be a we are going to intimidate the fuck out of the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's not what it is.
Yeah.
If we come out and score in the first 5 minutes, the Leafs are done. The Garden will bury them and break them. But if we don't, the Garden is only going to essentially feed the underdog story that is the Toronto Maple Leafs. It is a double-edged sword. And we've done nothing to prove that we can score in the first 2 minutes except for game one.
And maybe, I hate to say this, maybe we need to take a page out of Toronto fans' book. I don't know what they were cheering. I think they were yelling down Swayman, but they were doing crowd chants at our team. It's like, we need to do that. Start calling out Matthews. Matthews, you're
Agreed.
a baby.
All of them.
Like,
all
but
of them. Nylander, why'd you miss 3 games, you bum? Austin Matthews, why you sick, you bum? Like, no, it is one of the few places where a home ice or a home court is tricky, because unlike in a European soccer venue, which will they could be down 6-0 and Liverpool fans, Man United fans, Chelsea, like whatever, will be backing their team and tearing down the other team. They've got a chant for every guy. They know all the personal details. They will chant it. All 70,000 of them will talk about how this dude's a wanker, that dude's a cunt, like whatever it might be. They will get on them down 6-0 or up 5-0. It does not matter. They will back their team, period. I don't know if you've seen the fan walls that go on in Germany for like 4th division teams. It is nuts. It is nuts. I fundamentally do not understand why the Boston Garden is not like those venues, but the reality of the situation is it's not. The fans that buy the tickets, that can afford the tickets, and I'm using that as a preface, that can afford the tickets are not the ones to do that. The ones that can afford a $1,000 playoff ticket right now are not the ones that are that were there in the lean years of 04, 05, 06. We're not there in the heartbreak of night. Like, they weren't. They're there because their company gave them some tickets. Their company gave them a sweet box, whatever. They're like, it's become a tourist attraction and not where the local union guys can go and watch the team that's supposed to pound the other team. It just isn't.
Yeah.
And that makes me nervous as hell, because while you
makes
work
me
so
very
hard
nervous.
while you work so hard to get home ice advantage, we're going to know in 5 minutes whether or not it's going to be home ice advantage. We said it today. We were going to know in the first 5 minutes whether or not this is going to be a game where we were going to be nervous throughout or a little less nervous. And I think we both texted each other at the same time, I'm sweating bullets throughout this game. Like, we could have scored 3 goals. And I was like, we're fucked. We're fucked.
3 minutes in, I knew we were fucked. We looked awful. Yeah. I'm very worried. I mean, Toronto was 0-6 in their home building in playoff games until tonight. They're without Austin Matthews. I mean, I'd hope these players can wash away the past and just focus on one game. But the reality of the situation is they have last year's Florida series hanging over their head. They handed Toronto their first win in their building in 7 games. Without Austin Matthews, I mean, if they put any of those thoughts in their head, they're gonna be nervous and they're gonna be shaky. So whoever, whether it's Montgomery, it's someone else like a Patrice Bergeron or a Char or someone to
honestly, you've got to
calm these guys down.
We know those guys are in the area. They need to be in the building. I don't give a shit. They need to be. We know Big Z lives in the area. We know Patrice will come down. They need to be in the building talking to these guys. Jim Montgomery is not it. He clearly cannot do it. So stop trying. Bring your club ambassadors in to talk to these guys.
Bring in Conor McGregor.
It's gonna be. If I were, and I don't know what the logistics are on this, so I don't even know if this is possible. But if I were in charge of the video montages and the music and whatever at the Garden, or if the Bruins could look at who is in charge and be like, you know nothing about this, Jon Snow. Like, you know nothing about our history, our club, whatever. Take a sick day. We'll pay for it. And bring in somebody that can generate some hype in this crowd. Every single off puck silence needs to be met with something that resonates with Boston fans. It needs to be. This is the fucking game. You bring in Tim Thomas, David Ortiz, Tom fucking Brady. Pay whatever you have to get them in the building. Get them in a press box. Give them the box. Let David Ortiz bring all 900 of the people that he's related. Like, bring them all. Bring them all. Put a camera on them. Hold up number 34.
Get him to chug a beer.
Going. Get Tom Brady to slug down a beer. We know he's good at it. He did it for Jimmy Kimmel. He'll do it for the. Get him to do it. Get him to fucking do it. Get them to do it. This is a boogeyman game. This is truly a boogeyman game. This is one of those where it's going to dictate more than just this season. It really is.
It is.
How Saturday goes is going to dictate more than just this offseason. So pull out the fucking stops. Do everything. Figure out. Bring in Julian Edelman. Bring in Jules to just say, hey, it's going to be great when we let them all the way back in and then crush their hearts. Like, I don't know. You know there is more.
Bring in some of the fucking Red. Bring in Kevin Millar, anyone from the Red Sox that were fucking in this situation.
Veritek, they're all right down the street. Bring them in. Bring them in. Get the Garden going. Anytime there's a commercial, don't do the fucking puck. Find the puck and win a prize. Don't do that shit. Put Kevin Youkilis on. Do 04, 07, 11, 13, 18. Do montages of all of the great Boston moments coming in the clutch. That is what needs to be spammed on that Jumbotron. Because if the crowd is able to be engaged, get engaged, and stay engaged, that is going to be a huge factor in my opinion. And I genuinely have reservations that this Boston team can elicit that on their own. So if they need help, who gives a shit? Swallow your pride, bring the guys in, and just get the crowd behind every single shift. It's 60 minutes. It is 60 minutes.
Legit. Who's famous? Who's famous enough? Can we get Dave Portnoy? Can we get him to mention the NHL Bruins and say you guys need to change up the environment, change up the atmosphere, bring in some different clips?
I know the Spittin' Chicklets.
I'm with you.
Chicklets have some Bruins fans. Like, if they're not raging at this, I don't know what they're doing over there. This is
someone needs to change something. But this is, it's getting ridiculous at this point.
It's a boogeyman game. It's a boogeyman game. It is. It really is. And I genuinely think that this is bigger than one season. Like, this is the Bruins and how the Bruins fans think of this team.
Well, clearly the staff, Sweeney, is comfortable with letting go of a bunch of players like you did going into this season, and kind of having, to be fair, he's can have some confidence that a team can come back and be somewhat successful. So. Yeah, if we lose, I think he's fine cutting Montgomery, fine cutting Grzelcyk, get rid of Ullmark. There's going to be massive changes regardless. But, that just opens the door of, hey, no, if the core is not performing, then we have to really change things up. So, I don't know. It's
and one of the other things I got to throw out there was Charlie Coyle in Toronto? Was he there?
He's gone missing. He's doing Sullivan Tire commercials down in Weymouth.
Okay, I don't remember him doing a damn thing.
Zacha wasn't missing. Coyle was
no,
missing.
no. Actually, Pavel Zacha was there. Pavel Zacha was turning the puck over more than he was hitting a Bruin. That he was terrible. Objective, like he was terrible. Pasternak, terrible.
Marchand, not great.
Marchand, invisible, except when he was in the penalty box.
Jake DeBoss might have been the only one, and still, he didn't even play a great game, but he played well enough for me to give him a check mark and not make the shit list. But still,
the fact of the matter is, in 2 losses, Jeremy Swayman still has a less than 2 goals against average. If your goalie is letting up less than 2 goals a game, you've got to be winning these playoff games. That is nutsack numbers. Those are ridiculous. That is Conn Smythe worthy statistics on a team that is not going to make it out of the first round.
It's deja vu all over again. And this, I truly said this we said this leading up to playoffs. I thought our depth was going to be on full display. This was the first year I was like, any line can score at any time. Like, I truly believe that.
Score now.
Now, no one, like I figured, we said it. Oh, if the Stars take a night off, the third line will pick them up. It's just not happening 1 through 4. Like, no one's picking anyone up. I didn't think we would be in this situation. I truly do. But deja vu, it seems like for 5 years in a row, our depth scoring is just missing. Our regular scoring is missing in the last 2 games.
I'm sorry, David Pasternak has how many points this series?
Yeah, he's not good.
How many? How many?
I think it's time to look at putting him on a line with, I hate this. I don't know. I don't want to mix things up too much. And I think, but like at the same time, it's like, do you give him a shift with like someone like a Brazeau or a Maroon to open up
honestly, I do the opposite. I'd go back to what the boys seem to know. Because today's like the chemistry today just looked non-existent. Like nobody knew where anybody was going to be, though. I don't know. I feel like they probably practiced these lines at the morning skate. So like, I don't know. Maybe you do kind of know. But it was bad. I think you got to go back to who and what won you those first 2 games in Toronto. I think if Heinen's hurt, you keep Brazeau in the lineup. If Heinen's not hurt, I said it from the beginning. I think inserting him into the middle of the series was a bad call. I don't think that's easy on anybody to get rid of rust mid-playoff series with all that pressure and stress, especially his first playoff series. Like, if you're a veteran of 13 playoffs and you come back with some rust, you can shake that off. Like, I don't think it was fair to Brazeau to drop him in this situation. Fact of the matter was today he couldn't get pucks down low. He was losing battles on the boards. Just not what he's normally bad at.
I texted you. We saw this differently. I'll say this. I think he had a better game than half or a majority of the team. Fair. I still don't think he's dominating like we saw towards the end of the season. But hey, at this rate, maybe he pulls a William Nylander and just skates onto the ice, and Toronto will just hand him 2 goals next game, and then he can look like the star he was, because that's what we're willing to do to their guys that are rusty, is just let them walk down Broadway. I mean, it's honestly ridiculous. We don't deserve to win this series unless something dramatic changes going into this game 7. And of course, if you had to pick a team to lose to, like, maybe you don't pick Toronto, but at the end of the day, we're not going to beat anyone. Like, the Rangers would fucking cakewalk us. God. The Panthers would cakewalk us. We need to turn it on quick.
If we had been matched up with Tampa and played like this, Tampa would be beating us. We'd be gone. Yeah,
agreed.
We'd already be on the golf course.
The Islanders could probably have beaten us too. Well, at least we got a consolation prize, and Morgan Geekie scored with 19 minutes and 59 seconds into the third period. So Hull did not have a a shutout. Or Wall. So let's carry that one over. Big win, boys. Getting that goal in the last second when it literally doesn't matter.
Yeah, which unfortunately chucks back to a Charlie McAvoy choosing to, in frustration, hit a guy on the boards and let Nylander in all alone instead of dropping off. Like, that was one of those classic, we do it in video games all the time. We're just like, you know what? I'm frustrated. I'm just going to hit this guy. And it's like, oh shit, I let up a breakaway. We do it all the time. All the time.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he did.
Not in a situation like that.
Well, that's exactly what he did.
We can play 20 of those games in a day.
Right.
That's
right. And it doesn't matter. But McAvoy made that choice. Swayman couldn't stand on his head this time. And instead of, hey, that 1959, if that Nylander goal hadn't happened, that would have meant something. That would have sent us to overtime. And we saw what Vancouver sending a game to overtime in the last 15 seconds can do. You come out and score in the first 2 minutes. Yeah. Like, it could have been one of those, but no, instead we got frustrated, which to me is on coaching. And I'm going to keep coming back to that because I was coached by my father, who from a very early age would identify things like, hey, whether I was pitching, whether I was playing soccer, whether it was lacrosse, hockey, whatever it might have been, if I did something like that, if I did a frustration, threw it behind the guy's back or whatever, and then ended up walking the guy, my dad would come back and be like, you battled all the way back to 3-2, and then you threw him a slider and he didn't chase it out of the zone. Wouldn't you have liked to have the extra ball to give? And been able to try and it was fucking right. And I hated it. I hated hearing it in the moment. I hate talking about it and saying he's right now, but he's fucking right. He's fucking right. McAvoy gave into his frustrations, just clobbered what's-his-nuts on the board, but clearly allowed him to throw that pass in.
Yeah.
That pass 100%. Was so obvious. I was calling for drop, didn't drop, fuck, breakaway, save, fuck, 5-hole. It was just that obvious that you can't make a mistake like that out of frustration in the playoffs. You just can't.
And that's a mistake that's a mistake you expect out of a Mason Lohrei. And although he made a mistake, that's where McAvoy needs to be the veteran and realize, oh, he made a mistake. I can't now make a second one in a row.
Right. In 6 seconds.
It wasn't like the play. It wasn't like the play was behind him. He saw what was about to happen.
Yeah!
And to your point, tried to engage that hit. I mean, it's
the whole game leading up to that, we had almost played way too safety first in my eyes. We weren't anticipating breakouts. We weren't doing anything like that. We were very much hey, let's make sure we've got 5 guys ready to go. All right, everybody ready? All right, now let's try to progress the puck. We weren't trying anything risky. And that's when we decide to get risky? That's when you make a risky play? When your D partner biffs one and you have no coverage?
I would have rather we got risky in the second period and went down 3-0 than wait till the last 5 minutes.
Do it then. Do it at the beginning of the third. Go balls to the wall trying to get the equalizer and give one up with 17:30 left and then reevaluate. Don't wait until there's less than 3 minutes left to be like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm hitting this guy. Not making a play on the puck. He made no play on the puck. His stick was up and in the guy's back. He was not trying to cut off a passing lane. That was pure, I am so frustrated, I'm just going to hit this guy. And you cannot have that. And we've said for a long time, Charlie McAvoy is guilty of these mental mistakes. This one cost us a game. Because,
which one? Which one? The second one or the one where he let it deflect in off his knee into the net? Because again,
that one,
absolute ridiculous.
That one to me goes back to we shouldn't have been in that position. We should have been having a face-off at the other end of the ice.
We shouldn't, but he should not be trying to block shots when it's a clear lane. That's fucking something they teach in high school. He shouldn't have even if you're getting in front of a shot, you take that thing in the center of the chest. You don't It shouldn't matter, but
I fully agree. And as a goalie, you see Swayman immediately look at him, and I guarantee you it was either block it or get out of my way. Like, he looks at him, and he's just like, the only thing I can imagine him saying was, you got to block that or get the fuck out of my way, man. Because I would have made that save.
He would have
made that save. I also see it from the other side of, like, you're trying. I imagine you're, like, not having never played defense, but, like, I imagine you on the forward line or a defensive line, like, you're trying to block shots in that. Nothing else is going right. You're trying to block shots. You're trying. To me, it didn't look like he, like, got out of the way of it. You know, he didn't, like, flinch away.
No, he actively tried to block it, and
and it just didn't work. So, it's hard for me to blame him on that, because he's trying to do what his goalie is honestly telling him to do at the faceoff dot. Like, hey, when in doubt, block it out. When in doubt, eat it. Like, he tried. Like, if he had, like, shied away, I'd have been a lot harsher on him.
It's a situational awareness, though, because so if a guy's scrambling, right, he's a forward, completely acceptable if you, like, lay out, like, scrambling at the point and it gets deflected and go in. What you don't do, like, he needs to have the situational awareness that shot was unblocked, unscathed.
Agreed.
So, like, obviously your goalie's going to just grab it. So for him, like, he shouldn't have even tried to. He shouldn't have even agreed with you that he was trying to do the right thing, but he shouldn't have even tried to block it. That's one where you just pull up, let Swayman grab it.
Experience. And I'm sorry, Charlie McAvoy has experience at this point. Experience should have dictated. But this is one of those ones I get as skinny as possible and let Swayman, just catch that and do one of his. Got it. And didn't and couldn't and.
It's a shit you'd expect to see out of Grisick, like last game. Kind of keeps Tavares to the outside, but then situational awareness kicks the puck to the center of the ice. Like
all this to say, we still have a chance to come out of this series. We've still got another game. We've got 60 more minutes at least. We've got it at home. And
I will say, we definitely need to buy. If we win this, we definitely need to buy ourselves another 4 games, because we are not coming out of this series with confidence. Going, we're going to take it to the next team. Like, unless we put a dominating. Even then. So we need to buy ourselves at least another 4 games to, like, convince ourselves that we're a team that can win the Stanley Cup, and it starts on Saturday for sure.
I've got to completely change up my. I've made some superstitious adjustments. I now need the Jake DeBrusk is done. I think he's gone. So that's gonna hang up. So I'll be going Pasternak, or I might even take Berge off the wall. I haven't decided yet. But I'll be doing something different for Game 7 because what I've been doing just hasn't been working enough for me.
I hate to say it. I've been going with the no jersey, and I've been putting the chain on. I've been putting the jerseys on the couch. I hate to say it. I think I'm going to the Lucic, and although he's not on the roster, the green Lucic jersey, I don't know. I think it's 3-0 this year, so I think I'm pulling that one out for Saturday.
I think you gotta.
It's gotta come out.
I think you gotta. I think we gotta get. We gotta do something.
Marshy will be in the secondary position in case things start ugly, and then that's going on. But Lucic to start the game. It's been good to me this year. The green St. Patty's Day charm.
Yeah, you got to do something. I'm home alone this weekend. The wife's out of town, so I will have the next 48 hours to completely just sulk in my misery and try and come up with some creative and I'm sure completely relevant ways to turn this in our favor. But talk about, a 96-hour period where things went from really, really good to really, really nervous. But this is why you fight to have game 7 at home. Maybe they take our advice, maybe they don't. If they don't, I really think that they need to find some new Garden managers. I will put my application in for the job because I think I can get both the boys in green and white and black and gold going every single game all the time. But
it's night and day. It's night and day watching the Celtics last night to even the Bruins. Like, it's night and day how different the Garden is during a Celtics game.
Yeah.
It's honestly sad. It's sad.
Yeah. And, it's –
I'm literally watching
Nesson
right now. They're playing 2011. People are going absolutely bonkers. In the first series, the Montreal, Garden's clearly rocking, Like, it's not like that anymore. It's unfortunate, but we got some comments.
It's tough. Chris thinking that it's going to be Colorado, Edmonton, or Carolina winning the cup. I mean, all three of them look really scary. They're dangerous teams.
I picked Edmonton to come out of the West.
Three games ago, I would have called the Boston Bruins a dangerous team. After beating Toronto twice on their own ice, I'd have called us a dangerous team. Hockey flips quick like that. It can be weird. It can, come down to roster shakeups or injuries or health or any one of those things. It can be weird. But you really, you got to find a way. I think the biggest difference maker going into Saturday is going to be how the Garden reacts. If the Garden wills this team through, I think they go through. If the Garden doesn't, it's going to be tough. It's going to be nervy. Guys are going to be gripping their sticks. I've said it.
One needs to pick the other up early.
In my opinion, I've always said this. I've always said this. It is your duty as a ticket buying fan to bring the energy first. I've always felt this way. You and I have been to enough games together where I don't sit the fuck down. I alert everybody in the section. I'm going to be standing. I'm going to be screaming. I'm going to be cheering. I'm going to be chanting. I'm going to be singing. That's what I'm going to be doing. Most of the time, our section goes with us. Yeah. And we start some shit that we don't honestly hear. Like, I distinctly remember going to a number of Bruins games where we started the Let's Go Bruins that then resonated for 8 or 9 minutes when it hadn't happened all game before.
Yeah.
But I feel that is my duty as a ticket buying fan that loves this team. I very much understand why a ticket buying fan that couldn't give two flying fucks about the team and just wants the Instagram photo, why they don't do that kind of shit. To me, I think that's garbage. I think you're a garbage person for taking up that seat. I don't care what you spent on it. I don't care that you spent money on it. This is the playoffs. This is for the people that give a shit. You want your photo up, take it outside in front of the Bobby Orr statue and go the fuck home. Nobody gives a shit. Really don't. Really don't. 100%. There are hardworking, blue-collar motherfuckers that will literally skull fuck you to have that ticket and will cheer on the boys. So if you enter TD Garden on Saturday, my one ask is that you bear that responsibility. That responsibility of lifting the boys. Do not demand that they show you they are worth cheering. Why did you spend that money? Is it to say you were there, or was it to support the team? Because if it's to say you were there, you're the worst kind of human, and I hope that I find you in a dark alley one day when no one's around. And if you're there to support the team, then support the team from the beginning. From before Todd Angeli goes out there to after Todd Angeli is walking down the line to every intermission and every commercial break, it is your responsibility to do everything you can to lift the team.
I couldn't agree with you more. And if we want to start a GoFundMe right now, I will gladly go to jail, get on the ice, and cross-check Tyler Bertuzzi myself and get the crowd going. If anyone wants to pay my bail, I will gladly do it. I will definitely volunteer because Tyler Bertuzzi needs to get knocked the fuck out by someone like Pat Maroon. And anyone, just start the game hitting. Start the game with energy.
Honestly,
just
knock we have down. Last change. We have last change. Start with the fourth line and just rattle the wrists. Just rattle the wrists. See who does what. See what's going on.
There's no reason we can't start the fourth line. I mean,
start them.
We need to. We need to
start them. Our skilled players do not have the room on the ice right now, so go open up some room on the ice.
I never thought I'd say this, Pat, but you want to know who I think has been the biggest tough guy on the Bruins the entire series? You're going to be shocked. Brandon Carlo.
Fuck, I was thinking, God damn it. I mean, yeah.
Am I not wrong? He seems to be the only one that's willing to fucking throw the extra check or put someone into the boards. It's like I'm actually pretty impressed. I don't know if that was coaching or what, but he seems to have another level of grit.
He's pissed off.
He's pissed.
I think he's pissed off. If the Bruins get back to Bruins hockey and Chris in the comments has a point, like, hey, classic hockey players can throw the body, and aren't afraid of dropping the gloves. Fucking something has to change. Something has to wake the garden up. Pat Maroon dropping the gloves on Ryan Reeves, so I'm sure he's going to be back in the lineup.
Right. Even if he loses, it's still going to pump up the crowd more than
doesn't matter. The crowd. This crowd couldn't tell a winning hockey fight over a losing hockey fight. At this point, I can't tell half the time who wins and who loses. Like, at the end of the day, both guys end up just like doing this and getting thrown to the floor. Like, it doesn't matter. It just gets the sometimes you just got to get the people going.
Chris, I couldn't agree with you more. Definitely. I mean, if those two rumbled, that would be one of the most epic fights. I think Maroon's at a little disadvantage because of his back pain recently, but it would still be.
I don't give a shit. Give him a cortisone shot
and send his ass on the way.
Send his ass out there.
Chris brings up a good point, though. When you were bringing up your dad, this is one of the first. My dad's super unbiased. Usually leans on the side of the refs. He grew up during that generation where the refs had to pick 4 penalties a game out of 30 penalties a game, not the opposite that we're dealing with now. But I text him and I called him actually after the Lori and that period ended, and I go, yeah, like, am I seeing this differently? Am I just being ridiculous at this point, or is it been a little bit ridiculous the last 2 games? He goes, it's been ridiculous the last 2 games, and now I'm convinced they're paying for a game 7 because he said that Lori hit was outrageous, and he never says shit like that. Like, that's the first time I've ever hear him blatantly say that when the Bruins are playing bad too. When they're playing bad, he's just like, we don't fucking deserve shit. No way.
And we didn't.
He said
we're not trying to say they deserve shit, but that was one of those.
It was insane. I actually still can't believe it. I'm like, I still can't believe that one. But
I've now seen that replay 8 or 9 times, and just
I'd have a hard time finding that not to be a penalty ever. Like, pick one.
The manner in which he goes into the boards is the definition of what the Department of Player Safety has been trying to get out of the game for the last 4 years. The cross-check before, we've seen Tyler Bertuzzi flop like a dead fish, getting hit lighter than that, and go down and get that call in front of the net. I don't know. I said it early on in the series that that some of the decisions seem to be a little suspect both ways. It seemed like they were trying to keep this as level a series as possible throughout. They've got their game 7. They've got their game 7. They can all write about how is this the Bruins that crumble from 3-1 2 years in a row. They get to write about, is this the Leafs finally breaking the Bruins curse? They get to write about, can the Cup still come back to Canada for the first time in 30 fucking years? Like, it's one of those, they're going to get their mileage out of it. And maybe that's all they wanted. I do think it is going to come down, as Chris said, it's going to come down to whoever scores that first goal. I think it's going to be telling. I think that it
is going to be whoever. It better be us. It better be us, because we are not a team that can play from behind anymore. It's every game we get ahead, then we can do our dump and chase and dominate the other team. But I agree with Chris. If Toronto scores first, we're fucked. We're straight up done.
Because Montgomery doesn't know how to coach.
We don't know how to play.
Doesn't know how to coach from behind.
And
that's
Toronto
coaching.
Toronto proved tonight that they can hem us in a game like that they weren't doing the first 2 games. They figured it out how to do what we do when we're ahead now. So, couldn't agree more. I think we have to get the first goal or we're completely fucked.
Yeah, I think it's going to be another one of those games where we're going to know in the first 5 to 10 minutes whether or not this team has brought it. For the last 2 games, we've both called it within 10 minutes. Like, this team has not shown up yet. They're not out of the locker room yet.
No,
they're just not. For me, I would gather the boys in Boston tomorrow. We'd watch Miracle. We'd watch Remember the Titans, and then we'd watch 36 straight hours of Conor McGregor's entrance at UFC 186 or 189, whichever one Sinead O'Connor was in. And just hey, we're going to sit here and we're going to get hyped. No, you don't get to go see your families. That's for winners. No, you don't get to go eat. That's for winners. Y'all are eating in the cafeteria. You're either win or then you can go home. It's
Chris, don't be sorry, but we better be playing the game 7 when Bergeron buries you guys as well, as part of that footage, because I don't know, we got to change up something.
Something's got to happen.
I will agree that Edmonton's the best Canadian team
that's fair.
in the league.
That's fair. All right, I think I need to go drink a lot to get through the next 48 hours. Hopefully 48 hours from now, you and I are having a very, very different conversation. But we'll see.
The good news is, Pat, I will not be at my house for this next game, which seems to be the key, because every time I'm on my couch, I get pissed off and fucking punch things, and I can't be at my house, so I'm already leaving. I've locked myself out on Saturday.
There you go.
I'll be at our good friend Billy's house for the Kentucky Derby, and then OT number 2 is the Bruins coming on at 8:00, or 7.
All right. All right. Well, let's
8:00.
I will obviously talk to you in between now and then. Hopefully Monty has some words for the boys between now and then. We will see how it goes.
Watching this press conference on mute. I'm about to go watch it on YouTube or something after this.
I can't. If I see him on a screen, I'm going to break the screen. I can't look at Mr. Clean. Sorry, Mr. Clean's overweight brother. All right.
With the drinking problem? Was that too low?
There we go.
Shit.
I will let you get out of here. We're going to let everyone get out of here. All right. We appreciate you guys listening to our absolute Muppet takes here from the couch on Bruins Leafs game 6. We will see all of y'all on Saturday night, win or lose. I'm not going to make any promise. We are going to see you on Saturday night. I cannot promise the state. It could be one of delirium. It could be one of depression. And there might be some 5150 calls in the future.
Yeah, you might see me on the Zachem, not live on the fucking podcast. That's for sure.
all right, buddy. Let's fucking do what we can to remember that we have one more game to not fuck ourselves.
All right, Pat.
And I will see you, and I will see everybody on Saturday. See you guys.